are listening to Chef Life by Cottage Foods.
Hi guys, welcome to Chef Life podcast number 2. We're here today at Izakaya in New York with Danny and Adam. Guys, been open for just under a year now, 6 months?
No, 3 months.
3 months.
1st of December we opened to the public, and then we did the soft launch from the 23rd to the 26th
Awesome.
of November.
So yeah, really excited to talk about their food today and where they're taking the restaurant in terms of this journey, and thanks for listening. So over to you guys, really. It'd be good to sort of tell everyone sort of how you got here, where you come from, what you've done in the past, and...
Can we go first, Danny?
Well, yeah, so me and Adam met each other while we were figuring out our first ever business ventures down at Spark, York. So that's where we met. Adam was working on the bars and I was doing street food there, both out of shipping containers.
Yeah.
Obviously just trying to get our foot in the door with plans to open something like brick and mortar of our own. So now it's like 4 years later and finally found a venue which we've been looking for a long time.
Smart as well. I've done it really. I came, I think, first day when you were still finishing off, and it was like it's banging inside now.
Yeah.
It's really good. Good vibe.
I always had the dream to open a restaurant. I've done 10 years of experience in Michelin star restaurants, so I've always been, proper chef, wanting to push my experience and knowledge through the industry, and I had no money, so I was like, street food is probably a good way in. So we did street food for 3 years as Shori, which got really good responses, and we did quite well, which has enabled us to secure a name in the city and, open up a venue.
Awesome.
Under the new name Izakaya.
Awesome.
Yeah, myself, I started out with a music business where I was doing festivals at local festivals with on-time musicians.
Awesome.
And then through that kind of got involved with Spark from the beginning.
Yeah.
So I used to work for Spark when it opened, I helped open that, and then 6 months in I opened my own bar there, which was the Bohemian Bar, and that was when I met Danny from there. So as Danny said, since then we were trying to open somewhere together. I opened a second bar in Spark as well, and then as soon as the opportunity came for us to open this, left my position at Spark.
Yeah.
Still got the bars there, but we've just got a team that run it there.
Smashed it. Yeah. Oh man, mate, he's awesome. So I hear Saturday and the food's banging, like really, really good. Like, so I obviously met you with Shori, and food was epic there, and I was like gutted when he closed, but sort of got the vision, and like where he's taking it. And I think that while it sort of suits me, but that Japanese kind of vibe and how you're playing it in is what I experienced on Saturdays. It's a different take to other Japanese sort of restaurants I've eaten at and stuff. So in terms of the food and like where you're going with that, what's kind of the journey you're wanting the diner to have, from the drinks to the food? Like, what's the experience you're kind of looking for?
Well, we've got the front lounge area here, so this is where we try to start the experience for the diners. So we ask them to come in here, cocktails, sake on arrival, and then we can move them through into the restaurant area. So at the moment we've got lunch service Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then Wednesday to Friday, Saturday, Sunday lunch, and then Wednesday to Saturday we're doing evening service. And we're soon changing the direction of how we're going to be serving the evening service, but we'll get onto that in a bit, I guess. But that's, we like people to come in and relax, and it is a trip. We'll try and make it an izakaya, so it's somewhere that you can just come and stay and drink as much as you want, and when you're ready to get some food, go through to the restaurant.
Nice, and the vibe really suits that kind of modern sort of Japanese feel and style where you're going, and I think really sets you apart within York as well. And then sort of flavour wise, where are you trying to take the diner? What's the
So we're trying to make some dishes which are quite classically casual dishes, and refine them a little bit more, give them a little bit extra flair, just little pops of flavour, little bits of umami, something that you're going to remember when you leave. Just classic dishes, We've got like yakitori on, but we take it to the next level by like sous vide the chicken thighs and cutting them into perfect portions, and then glazing them over the charcoal barbecue.
Nice.
As cooking them like every 30 seconds, brush them and turn them until they're perfect. And it's just a lot of attention to detail on some really like casual style dishes to make them a little bit more formal.
Oh, so the taste menu I had was fire. Like the like you say, that detail and everything was was phenomenal. Like, really enjoyed it. Like, just the presentation was good. The whole experience was relaxed, but felt fine dining, but without the stuffiness. Which, I think
that's exactly the direction. Really.
Yeah, and that I think is where everyone wants to go. And so you talked about where you're going to take the menu and stuff. So is that a bit more where you're going to head?
So in the future we're looking at. So basically we've been launching the chef selection menu for the last month, and it turns out about 89% of people are just going for that.
Awesome.
So it means that if we're doing the 2 menus, then we've got like a hell of a lot of preparation to do. Really, is the deadline of it all. So if 90% of people are going for that menu, then it's better off us putting a lot more energy into that to make sure that's more refined. And that's the direction the customers seem to want us to go in, so we're just going with the flow of it.
And flavour-wise, is there anything you've been playing with recently you want to try and bolden out on, or any new Japanese influences?
I'm currently writing our season menus, so I'll be looking at the whole seasons. I think we'll be changing our menu via the seasons, which is always fantastic.
Awesome.
Keeps you inspired by what's going and growing around you.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about summer dishes at the minute. I've just found some lovely strawberry vinegar, which we get from Koch Foods.
Yeah, nice. Good plug. I'll take that.
I'm already thinking about the oysters we're going to be putting on with that. So I'm thinking about some like alpine strawberries and strawberry vinegar oysters. And I'm just planning ahead at this minute, so trying to get it nailed down so we know exactly what direction we're going and where we're going, what we're serving.
Yeah.
And establish ourselves for the year, really.
Awesome.
Which is fun, really exciting to have that idea. Like, we feel like we're a lot clearer headed now.
Yeah.
We know what direction the restaurant wants to go in and where we can put ourselves. So
yeah. You set the vibe I felt on Saturday was just right. Like for the way you serve the food and the menu itself, and like you say that. Then if you establish that, and then you can just lead out. Awesome. Yeah. And is there any sort of flavours that you've been playing with but haven't quite worked yet that you want to try and build out on a bit more, or anything that you think? Because I remember, you were doing this. Can't remember what it was. I'll butcher this, but it was like a sort of pasta, but you'd done it in this star shape. But it was like, I can't remember what it was. You were messing with it for
I was making all sorts of different gyoza fillings and gyoza shapes,
Yeah.
Like mandus and gyozas and all of the different shape names and stuff like that. But they might come back at some point, actually.
Yes.
I want to do another exo dumpling at some point.
Nice.
It'll be like a take on a ravioli, but it'll be a Japanese ravioli.
Yeah, I think that's what we were doing actually when I came in that day.
Maybe like crab with like a typical crab bisque, but with some Japanese ingredients like sake and soy sauce in the base of it, and then pasta instead of gyoza pastry. Fill the pasta with some Chinese dumpling mix, and then make a ravioli and foam it with a nice crab. It's like really amazing fusion of different places, different cooking techniques, styles of cooking. So it's pretty. This is awesome. The place where we can really like expand on being fusion cooking.
Yeah. That's the way to go.
Yeah, there's no need for us to feel like we have to be like stapled in as a Japanese everything.
And that's what makes it exciting to come back.
Because Japanese is so open to different cuisines anyway. So like China and Korea are massive influences in Japanese cuisine. So I use loads of Chinese different sauces and flavours to boost out some Japanese. It's always got the base of things. It's usually sake and soy sauce. It usually has shiso or some other flavours like yuzu, which I really like to use.
Yeah.
And then just pull in ideas from different places. Lots of French cuisine cooking, lots of Chinese dishes, lots of Korean dishes. It's just it's an exciting way to cook.
Yeah. And then you sort of modelling that again through the cocktails and stuff as well. So I really like the sort of cocktail offering there and stuff. And I find because we're trying to build out a sake range, but it's quite hard to introduce people to it because it's not cheap, and then they've got to then educate their diner on X, Y, and Z of sake, and it's quite a risky venture. But I think the way you incorporate it into cocktails and lots of different bits, I think that's the way to go. Definitely. And do you find, being sort of as a Japanese base, do you find finding influence in York interesting, or do you have to go further afield? Because York, there's quite a decent culinary scene here, but I do think you guys are, versus other places we've been in Central, I think you guys kill it. So, what's sort of helping you think outside the box in New York, or does it not really play a part?
Well, at the minute, I think we're still plugging at people who have already experienced some cooking that I've done in the past, and they're almost wholeheartedly just letting us go for it. And they're coming and responding to it really well at the minute.
Yeah.
So it's really nice to have such a loyal customer base from previous ventures.
Yeah.
And they're just constantly giving us the support we need to keep pushing, and I think it's just, it's got organic growth through word of mouth.
Yeah.
That's it, really. I don't feel like we're really having to convince people.
Yeah. Oh no.
At all.
No, just walk through the door and they'll get it.
The whole style of what we're doing.
Yeah.
It's when you walk in, I think it's immediately contemporary.
Yeah.
So you go, oh well, contemporary.
Yeah, it's flash. Yeah.
Sit down, the food's contemporary. And I think it just works.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
I think people are just responding to that immediately.
Yeah. And you find from a flavour perspective, in terms of new dishes, is there anything that sort of influences you locally in York, or are you going a bit further afield in terms of different restaurants and what they're doing, or how does your mind kind of work with that?
Well, at the minute I'm obviously thinking about the seasons and stuff like that, and we're very lucky that Japanese vegetables and stuff grow in exactly the same climate as ours, so we can really expand on our vegetables and offering to make it very close to Japanese produce. Obviously it's not going to be Japanese produce because you'd have to be there to have that, but we are lucky in the fact that we have good suppliers around very locally who can literally tailor make our produce and grow what we want for us, which is kind of the next step for us, is going to be having a little plot where we can start growing our
that's
vegetables.
definitely the way forward, man.
Fantastic.
Really interesting.
It's really good, just where it's coming from, the traceability of it's all fantastic, and it's cater made to you.
Yeah, and it's a journey as well for the diner. I really like that. I think that's
I think people like to know where the food's coming from. They like to know how it was grown, and I think it adds to the experience. It shows people that we care about every little bit we put on plate.
Yeah, and how since doing this, such a great effort from where you were in terms of when I walked in the building, and it was still a building site. What have been the challenges since your sort of first 3 months in business? Anything that you didn't expect, or what's been interesting for you?
I think when we opened, and as soon as we opened, it was trying to get the customers to, because it was small plates, trying to get them to order the correct way of the dining experience we want them to have.
Sure.
So I guess that in a way that's why we opted in to do the chef selection, because we found that some of the customers weren't technically picking or choosing the dishes that we thought would go well together.
Yeah.
So that was a bit of a challenge. Getting the sakes as well at the start. That was difficult. So we started off just with Camp Out, it's a London-based sake house, and then we've found some suppliers now, so we've been able to get an extensive range on that. And I guess getting some of the direction just of the bar, but now we've nailed it. We've fully got the drinks offering that we wanted, but it was a bit of a slow burn to begin with, getting the correct wines in to pair with Japanese food that we were offering.
It's a tough mark, because I kind of look. I've had cottage foods now nearly 6 years, and I look back and fuck. Some days, disaster. But then, sort of the hospitality trade, which in the UK I think has always been steady away, has had probably the worst thing ever with COVID, and everyone knows about. So it's kind of a ballsy time to open a restaurant, But I think from our experience looking at the array of customers we deal with, what you guys are doing is the right move, because I think to open something a bit generic, you're fucked. Without being very general there, but I think this specific, and this, I feel the Japanese vibe is here to stay as well. If anything, it's we backed it 2 years ago or whatever in our range, and that's really where we're trying to just head, not exclusively, but nigh on and off. It's I think it's an interesting time to do it, definitely.
I think it's always a risky time to open a restaurant, no matter what time it is and what time it is. Hospitality is notoriously really just hard. Thankfully we've been doing it a little while now, so
you've got some good experiences behind you and a lot of learnings and stuff.
So got a foot in the door, I think, there. Really push out on the offering we're doing.
And within York, like what are the sort of restaurants or what the place do you think are doing it quite well, or you take any inspiration from that, or you like shut us down, we're doing it our way and that's it?
Yeah, it's hard because I've got loads of influences, I suppose, but none of them really end up being like what we do. But it's just like some things that I like. It's a completely different feel of a restaurant, but I like the dishes that they're doing, and then it's just making it my way, so it fits our dining theme. Like all the Michelin star restaurants that are really inspired me to cook in the first place, they still inspire me now.
Great.
To come up with dishes. But obviously I'm not going to be doing, old school French classics in this restaurant. But what I can take from that is some of the skills and some of the techniques that they use and put that into my style of cooking. And
in terms of your sort of brigade of chefs behind you, have you brought in experience with that, or are you trying to teach them your way?
A fresh team. We've got one of the lads who we took on board from Wild who used to work here before it was Izakaya. And he's learning from scratch. He's never touched Asian dishes, like Japanese dishes in his life.
Real experience.
He doesn't really have anything to help him learn all these things. So he's jumped into that wholeheartedly. And then I've got a lad who used to work at Spark. Used to work a lot of different vendors in there. Yeah, he's always been milling around, but it's just really, really good to pick up things really quickly. And he's only 20, and he's learning.
Because you knock out.
Very fresh team.
For the size of your kitchen upstairs, you knock out. Like I was amazed, like the quality and the variety and the speed at which it was coming out. For such a high quality and well presented dish.
Talk about challenges. That's one of our challenges, definitely.
Yeah.
We have a tiny kitchen.
They make it work though, bro. Like
tiny kitchen. Yeah, it's hard to smash out hundreds of covers a week when you've got such a small kitchen.
Yeah, but I think though, with that in mind, the way like you were saying earlier, like you get people in, you get them to drink first, and then go back for. You've kind of got that nice flow, which I suppose helps manage kitchen output and stuff, which is.
I think especially when we move on to the new chef selection, which is only going to be offered on the evenings, where it is more of a tasting menu kind of dining experience. And that will simply be the back restaurant and the mid section.
Right.
Before, on busy like Fridays and Saturdays, we were having to use the front section as well. But now the front section, when we decide to do this change in like early to mid March, this area will solely be for drinkers and for basically potentially having some snacks and things before your meal.
Nice.
The benefits of it definitely outweigh how we've been doing it in the past, because it'll ease the kitchen up a little bit, so it's not so intense. Because orders are just coming through left, right, and centre as they do in the kitchen. So when we go into a tasting menu style, everything will have a flow. It'll feel nicer. I think the food will be coming down more refined. I think the guests will be looked after better, have better timings on the tables. So it's a really exciting part to start again from pushing forward, because it was already really good. And now we've got a chance to make everything excellent, I think.
Awesome. It's the right approach. So, and I think as well, if you can drive that. See, I'm really interested in your sort of landing sake within York, because I do think it's a fabulous drink and it's so varied. I mean, some of the stuff we've been looking at, like some milk-based sakes and stuff. But then it's just but speaking to people like yourselves, it's hard for us to go to some of our other customers who have no idea and try and sell them a milk-based sake. But it's an amazing drink. But I think it'll just sit on the shelf. So I think if from a discovery perspective, if they're not akin to eating Japanese fusion, which, well, being rude, I don't think a lot of York's offered that, bar what you did in the past. It's a whole new experience, then, isn't it? So they're coming in with that open mind.
It's still a hard plug to try and get people on sake, but people are slowly getting into it. And eventually, I'm sure will be the place to come for one.
Oh yeah, especially
people will think, when they've got special occasions and stuff, to come here for a sake, because we're going to be selling things like sake flights, so you can have an experience of 3 different sakes at once, and we'll be the place to come for a new experience. Yeah,
absolutely. And I think that experience for me is the right word here, because I think that's what I got when I came, and I think that's what you'll deliver. Do you know what I mean? And I find it a really interesting city to make a restaurant work, because you get so many tourists, but then like one of my best friends lives in York and he's a big foodie, loves the scene and stuff, and but then I also feel York doesn't necessarily push the boundaries, whereas you guys are, and I think that's really interesting to see where that goes. because I think you've got the market here as well. Like I think consumers want to eat new stuff, and it's like a mini London almost now, isn't it?
Well, that's the thing. As soon as the tourists come back as well, like January and February, we've obviously been mainly targeting the locals, which has been great to get our name out there for the people that we want to see coming back time and time again.
Do you have a strategy for targeting tourists, or is it just word of mouth outside, I suppose?
Obviously, the reviewing side, so trying to get as many Google and TripAdvisor reviews as possible, and then we will be targeting them through. We're trying to get into different guides as well.
Right, got
you. Our understanding is it's just got to wait for them to come to you, really. So we're putting our names into them, asking them to come, but hopefully over the next 6 months to a year that we'll start seeing some of the guides come in, and fingers crossed we get into them as well.
Oh, yeah, well, you're knocking out of the kitchen, definitely. Like, I'd be super surprised if not. It's an interesting concept here. I think with the tourist thing, because it's you're getting that passing trade, and then people travelling just for your food, which is really cool.
That's what we want. We want people to travel for us.
Yeah.
We want to be booked up. We want to be people to not rely too much on passing trade, but just to be, an influence online, really. So people click in, book in, and be a special place you have to get into.
I mean, that's what it is already at the weekend. We're fully booked Fridays and Saturdays.
There's not been a day of a weekend day where we've opened where we've not been full.
But the beauty was like it didn't feel packed on Saturday because it was busy. Like, all the tables were full, but it felt quite intimate as well. Which was nice. Because sometimes I think you can go somewhere and you really want your quality, and like, it's like a cat market, But no, it's awesome, guys. But anything else you want people to hear about, or?
I guess just wait to just when we start promoting this new tasting menu.
When do you think they're launching that?
It was the 8th?
I don't know.
1st of March, 8th of March.
Whatever the date is, when the first Wednesday of the week.
Yeah, 1st of March we'll be doing the chef selection, but with the choice of still with phasing out the a la carte, and then from the 8th it will purely be
chef selection.
Which awesome. We're changing to the omakase, aren't we?
Yeah.
So we do omakase boards at the moment,
right?
But omakase is basically just a Japanese dining experience where you just leave the chef to.
Yeah, that's kind of is that your lunch section currently?
Yeah.
And lunches are going to turn into more like our a la carte offering at the minute, so we'll have more choice at lunchtime.
Yeah.
So you can come get your karaage chicken, you can come get your yakitori,
I'll be here, man. Definitely.
All of it's bits and bobs you want in and out.
Yeah.
Which is more suited to the diner at the minute.
Yeah.
Because if people are coming on an evening and they're just coming for the yakitori in a bar and then leaving, it doesn't really help us for our overhead very well.
No.
We'll just come in for a chicken stick and a bao bun. We can't really afford with such a small restaurant to have 100 customers like that. And I think at lunchtime we have all the freedom to do that. So
it's good to introduce diners down the road, like the eel you serve. I doubt a lot of your average consumer's going to order eel, but it's fucking fire. So it's I think that way of not forcing a diner's hand, but you allow them to experience everything.
That's what I mean, because if they're wanting to come on an evening for a more refined dining experience, then they're more than welcome to. But again, as Danny was saying, if you want to experience a true izakaya, essentially, then come for the lunchtime offering on the weekends.
Awesome. Oh, great, guys. Well, listen, it's been lovely talking here. I know Rianne's going to do some filming with you guys today. It's part of our sort of chef discovery. Anything you want anyone else to hear at all, where they can hit you up or whatever?
Just we're mainly on Instagram at the moment, so it's izakaya.york, and website is www.izakaya-york.co.uk, and that's where you can book to get in on the evenings and lunch.
Great
Please
stuff.
remember to give us a review.
I'll make sure I throw that in the description along with everything else, guys. Well, listen, love your food, love you guys. Been awesome working with you, and look forward to see what happens in the next 12 months.
Thanks very much.
Cheers, guys. Thanks for joining us today on this episode of Chef Life by Cottage Foods. My name's Alistair, I've been your host. Hope you found it entertaining. You can follow us on Instagram as Cottage Foods Ltd. Alternatively, you can look at our website, which is located at www.cottagefoodsLtd.com. Thanks, and see you soon.